Hey everybody, welcome back. Craig Shop here with our New York City film critic, Bob Garver. Bob is here. We've taken a little bit of time off. We've let some movies accumulate. Bob, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, ready to go.
That's great. I hope you had some fun at the movies because you have quite a slate here. We have six movies on the docket. The first one is a big time Oscar contender. I'm Still Here. This is a Brazilian movie nominated for three Academy Awards, including Best Actress for Fernanda Torres and Best International Feature. Bob, tell us about I'm Still Here.
Well, I'm Still Here tells the story of a woman played by Fernanda Torres as she uh, tries to look after her family during a dictatorship in Brazil in the 1960s or 70s, I forget which. But her husband is taken by the police, and so is she. She's released fairly soon after, but uh, her husband is kept for an extended amount of time, and she's trying to figure out um, what happens to him. Um, and it slowly becomes apparent that he was probably involved in some sort of counter government measure, um, and she has to keep her family together uh, while while awaiting news on him. And it's real heartbreaking stuff.
Mm.
Um, it starts off with several nice scenes in a row, and there are several nice scenes sprinkled throughout. But when it gets into stuff about her and her husband being abducted and imprisoned, yeah, it's very very tense, very scary stuff.
Well, and like I said earlier, three nominations: Best Actress for Torres, International Feature, and Best Picture in general as well. Obviously, this is a maybe a lot of buzz for Fernanda Torres. She won the Golden Globe for Best Actress.
That's right.
Not always a big time precursor for the Academy Awards, but I think it's kind of becoming a little bit more of a precursor. What do
This best actress race is so awesome, so tight this year,
it
and
is.
she is in the thick of it.
Yeah,
Very good chance of winning. So does Demi Moore. So does Mikey Madison.
yeah,
Um, just really competitive stuff.
yeah. I think we could both agree. Maybe. I mean, I know you've seen this, and I have not seen this, but Mikey Madison is still my personal favorite. But I think she's losing a little bit of steam, maybe here as the season goes along, and the buzz kind of wears off a little bit on Honora. Demi Moore has a great story, and she, of course, won a
Absolutely.
Golden Globe and had a great speech. And she's 62, and she's telling this great narrative of you know having the struggles in Hollywood. So it's very possible that Torres or Moore could squeeze this one out. Um, what did you make of Torres's performance here in the movie overall?
I mean, it's really great stuff. I can see why she's nominated. I can see why she's a favorite. Um, I can't say I was connecting too much, um, but I can see where somebody else would, and I um, yeah, I can see where somebody else would, and I can see um, where she's a very strong contender.
Okay. What's your final grade on I'm Still Here?
Um, B minus. It's yet another one that I won't deny is an expertly made film, and I definitely see the competence there.
Mhm.
Um, but I can't say I was connecting to the story or the characters too much. To the extent that I found them particularly memorable or anything. It's kind of in the same category as the Brutalist.
Okay.
Where
All right.
I definitely see that these are talented people that deserve recognition, but at the same time, just not doing a whole lot for me personally.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Well, maybe moving on to sort of our 2025 slate now. I
Yeah.
don't think that our next movie is going to score any Best Picture nominations or Best Actress nominations, but we have Wolfman a remake? I'm assuming it's going to be a remake, or is it a
It's
sequel, or is it just
it's
its own
not really a
standalone?
remake or a sequel. It's more of an update. You know how they did the Invisible Man
Yes, yes.
back in 2020? It's kind of like that,
Okay,
where it doesn't really relate to the original, other
okay.
than that there um, is a man who is wolf-like. Actually, there are two men that are wolf-like at various points in this movie.
Okay. All right. Well, tell us about the movie. What are your thoughts?
It's about a guy who goes up to his childhood home to, I guess, pack it up following his father being declared dead. Um, and they're attacked by uh, a creature that turns out to be a werewolf. And because the father is, I guess, scratched directly by the wolf or the wolf man, he starts undergoing a transformation that makes him a danger to the family, in addition to the original creature outside the house. So danger inside the house, danger outside the house. There are actually some pretty strong themes here about fatherhood and about the responsibility to one's family, um, but also as a horror movie, it is kind of a mess, especially as it goes along. And there's only so many situations the movie can come up with where the family can hide from and or outpace a werewolf.
Well, what are your final thoughts on Wolfman?
I gave it a C.
Okay. All right. Our next movie, sort of an interesting movie, seems like an interesting movie to me. One of Them Days. This is Kiki Palmer and the musician SZA teaming up on this buddy comedy, and I have to say, I really like Kiki Palmer. She's got a lot of energy on screen.
Yes.
Really liked her in Nope, the Jordan Peele action blockbuster.
Yep.
Tell us about One of Them Days.
Uh, One of them days is well, yeah, it's like you said, a buddy comedy with her and SZA. SZA has just as much energy as Kiki Palmer, and which is to say that they both have a lot of energy, great chemistry with each other. They play these friends and roommates who entrusted, I think, SZA's boyfriend with their rent money, and then he went and spent it on stuff for himself. So they need to scramble to make rent money on with by the end of the business day in order to keep their ramshackle apartment, um, and they have to come up with various schemes to make this money, but yeah, just pretty much nothing goes their way, and their friendship is tested. um, the Palmer's characters career is threatened, but yeah, they get into all sorts of adventures and antics, and it should be a very funny movie. Like I said, the two leads are great. Um, the problem is that this is a movie that requires them to interact with a whole crazy neighborhood, and
Mhm.
aside from the two leads, none of the other characters are very memorable.
Okay.
So
What's your final grade for One of Them Days?
unfortunately, I couldn't go higher than a C with
Okay.
this one, even though the building blocks were there for a very funny movie.
Okay. All right. Well, unfortunate there, but we'll move on. Um, January is one of those months, Bob, where I think studios kind of, just throw some spaghetti at the wall, hope it sticks. Every now and then you get a pretty well known director crafting a movie. And here we have Mel Gibson back in the saddle for Flight Risk. This is a thriller starring Mark Wahlberg, Topher Grace. Um, what are your thoughts on Flight Risk?
That you hit the nail on the head when you describe January movies. This is the most January of the January movies
Yes.
that we have in Flight Risk. Um, yeah, a thriller where Michelle Dockery is playing this U.S. Marshal escorting a government witness played by Topher Grace uh, from rural Alaska to Anchorage. They get on this plane piloted by Mark Wahlberg, and once they're up in the air, it becomes apparent that Wahlberg is a hitman sent to kill Grace and probably Dockery too. Um, so there's a whole lot of like cat and mouse stuff involving the three characters. And I could see where a movie like this might work. I know that these actors have all been talented in other stuff, but these characters are just not strong characters, and the banter isn't all that great, and the action isn't all that great, and the movie isn't all that great.
Yeah, seems like a very thinly veiled plot line here, where
Yeah,
it seems like it could run out of steam after like 15 minutes almost, where you get
it
even an
really
hour and a
can,
half.
and it's also a movie where that requires the characters to just be tremendous idiots in order for there to be any suspense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned we both mentioned that the January movie season not always the best, and very rarely do you see a breakout hit for whatever reason or another. And I think this is probably a little bit more disappointing, maybe to hear, because I really liked Hacksaw Ridge. I know a lot of people were divisive on
Yeah,
it.
I
Um,
like Hacksaw Ridge too, and
and this
I
is his
wish
follow up. This is now I know he's working on a Passion of the Christ sequel, but he hasn't made a movie in almost 10 years since Hacksaw Ridge, which was a very well received by the Academy. And then this is like the best he can get, maybe, or is this just is he still sort of in director's jail, even though he came back with a pretty good hit with Hacksaw Ridge?
I don't know. I don't know why he picked this of all projects. This is um this is beneath his talents.
Yeah. What's your final grade on Flight Risk?
C minus.
All right. Well, we get something for the kids this time around here in
Yeah.
January, an animated movie, Dog Man. I have to admit, I'm not familiar with any of this. I've seen the trailers for it. Is this based off of a intellectual property? Is this a original work? I've never heard of Dog Man.
So apparently this is spun off of Captain Underpants.
Okay.
Apparently this is the comic book that the main characters um, in the kid characters in the Captain Underpants movies have written.
Okay. So this is
But
like a Christopher Nolan level dream within a dream here, right? I mean, they're writing a
I
comic book inside of another show. That's crazy.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about a human cop and dog partner combo who get involved in an explosion. The dog's body and the human's head are rendered useless, so they sew the dog's head onto the man's body, which sounds like the premise to a horror movie. Now that I think about it, but
Yes.
it actually just turns him into a really cute police officer.
Okay.
Um, who goes up against this supervillain cat who creates a clone of himself that turns out to basically be a baby that he then has to take care of, and it's just an adorable movie all around. I can't say all the jokes were connecting with me,
Hmm.
but I could see where a kid would like this, and seeing how easily a kid would could enjoy this movie made me enjoy it.
Okay. Well, the continuing struggle between cats and dogs, I suppose. What's your final grade for Dog Man?
B minus.
Okay.
B minus.
Fantastic.
It gets my first recommendation of the year. I'm still here being
A 2024 release.
being a 2024 release. Yeah.
Sure. All right, and then our last movie is Companion. This is a movie that's kind of gotten a lot of buzz.
Yes.
R-rated thriller. Tell us about Companion.
Companion. Horror movie about a woman and her boyfriend who go visit his wealthy friends, and things eventually turn to murder, and things with the woman are not all that it seems. The woman's played by Sophie Thatcher from Heretic, who I can now officially call a scream queen now that she has starred in two horror movies that I highly recommend in the past 3 months or so. Um, but yeah, really, really digging this Sophie Thatcher. But the movie really belongs to Jack Quaid as the boyfriend, who is just the biggest scumbag in this movie. He is gnashing on the scenery, um, playing just the worst kind of playing playing the worst kind of human in a movie where not every character is human. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
But yeah, Jack Quaid. If he wasn't a star before, he is now following this movie. Even though it's going to be hard for him to get a date with how he treats women in this movie. Um, but yeah, I guess this is a good time to be one of the killers from the Fifth Scream movie because because the two killers in that movie were Jack Quaid and Mikey Madison.
Yeah.
So
I know.
So yeah, they're both doing really well right now, and he's got another movie called Novocaine coming up, and I can't say I was looking forward too much to that movie. Now that I've seen Companion, now I'm looking forward to Novocaine, and that's really speaks to this movie
Yeah.
that it's making me look forward to his next movie.
Definitely. Well, what do you think works so well about Companion? Is it just the overall jump scares? Is it the tightness of the script?
Not really a jump scare, just
Okay.
the mind games going on.
Okay. And
And
what's your final grade for it?
solid B.
Okay. Fantastic. I know, since we last spoke, the Academy Award nominations came out. Any overall thoughts from the Academy Award nominations? And obviously, we'll be, in the coming weeks, we'll be doing a show there with some predictions. But just overall thoughts after the Academy Awards nominations came out.
I'm very glad that both Honora and Nickel Boys got Best Picture nominations. I kind of knew that Honora was gonna be in there, but I'm glad they didn't forget about Nickel Boys because that is, to me, that's just as equally an important movie. Even though I have more of a personal connection to Honora, Nickel Boys would make an excellent Best Picture winner, and since I think that the other movie might be a little too raunchy to win, Nickel Boys would be an excellent choice.
Sure. All right. Well, fantastic. What do you have coming up on the horizon? What's the release schedule look like for you here?
We got some Valentine's movies coming up. We have Heart Eyes, which is a horror movie about a killer with a mask with red heart-shaped eyes that light up. And we also have Love Hurts, movie about a former gangster that's lured back into the life by his former lover, I suppose.
Okay.
And then the following week, we have the new Paddington movie, Paddington in Peru,
Yeah.
a follow-up to the absolutely beloved Paddington 2, and then Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Captain America movie.
Yeah.
So we're
Wouldn't
gonna.
be a. Yeah, I think Marvel has a few movies coming out this year, I believe. So
Yep.
starting it off big with Captain America in February.
Yeah, we're gonna finally get back into the Avengers wing of the MCU after the MCU mostly took last year off except for Deadpool and Wolverine, but there wasn't a whole lot of tie-in to the Avengers with that one. It was more just a victory lap for how many Fox properties they'd taken over. Disney had taken
Yes,
over.
it was. Yes. Well, we'll see one of those with Fantastic Four coming up in July as well. So a lot of movement going on here for Marvel. As always, Bob, appreciate you stopping by and talking movies. I hope you do have fun at the movies here this weekend, and we will talk again real soon.
All right, thank you very much. This is the highlight of my week.